Hi, and welcome to another Save the Marriage podcast. Today I'm going to be talking about relationship empowerment. If your relationship or your marriage is going through a bit of a bumpy patch, or routine, mundane, sameness has crept in, stay tuned. Hopefully you'll be able to take something away. So relationship empowerment, it means it's time to take action. And great relationships don't just happen, they require work. And you can say to yourself, I realise that I have a relationship that I cherish, and I'd like to work with you to make this something special. Relationship empowerment is different from personal empowerment. And I've talked about personal empowerment before in the realms of control or unbridled self-expression. They were in a previous podcast. But relationship empowerment is recognising that there's two of you in this. Relationship empowerment is about us. It's about we. It's a team that we're in this together. When you start to recognise that the language being spoken is about, well, I, or me, or you, or yours, then it's time to think, well, are we drifting apart? Are we losing connection? Relationships are normally based on that equality model. It's a team. We're in this together. So relationship empowerment asks the questions, how are we going to be together in a way that works for both of us? How are we going to negotiate our needs? And when there is conflict or hurt, how are we going to move back into loving connection? And one of the terms that I use is making a bid. When that happens, it's, okay, I realise what's going on here, and I'm going to be the bigger person, and I'm going to make a bid. I'm going to put it out there. Would you like a tea? Would you like a coffee? Or okay, let's go out for a walk. Because normally half the time you really don't know, or you've lost sight of what the argument's about, or it's been so minor that it's been blown out of all proportion. And is it really worth spending the night on your own, or going to bed on that argument, or waking up with that? So make a bid and try and move back into that loving connection. Relationship empowerment asks you both to communicate your needs. This is what I'd like. Tell me what you'd like. Tell me what you need from me to help me deliver. Now, full respect living, which is another part of empowering you in your relationship, it means making a commitment that no matter what, you will not drop below the lines of respectful behaviour. Not only for yourself and for your relationship, but other human beings around you. That's what showing respect is about. You can stand up for yourself, you can be assertive, and you can be firm, but there's no reason to do any of that in a way that is disrespectful to the person you're speaking with. So on the other hand, full respect living also means that you don't allow yourself to be on the receiving end of disrespectful treatment and do nothing about it. And sometimes a partner may have adopted a passive or a submissive role or position in their relationship, especially if you have one more dominant or controlling partner. Because when you step up and you be more assertive, you're actually taking some power or some control away from that other person. Now, assertiveness is not aggressiveness, but it's not passiveness or submissive either. So assertiveness is about your needs matter and my needs matter. I recognise that you have a voice to be heard, but also recognise that I have a voice to be heard. Aggressiveness, on the other hand, is that your needs don't matter. Mine matter over yours. I have a voice and I'm not ready to listen to you, or I don't really want to listen to you. Passiveness or submissiveness is about, I recognise your needs above mine. I recognise your voice, but don't worry too much about mine. So if assertiveness promotes equality, and you choose, there are situations when you can be assertive, and situations where you may choose not to be assertive. That's a skill in itself, and I run a workshop on it. Respond with generosity. How to listen and respond. Now, this skill is about being a generous, responsive and mature listener, which is a prerequisite to listening. And a lot of the times guys struggle because we have a solution-focused brain, or we like to give advice, find answers, where sometimes we should just stop and listen. Demonstrate your listening skills in 2 steps. Acknowledge all that you can, or what your partner has said. That helps them feel better because you're actually paying attention. And body language comes into that as well. Being open and paying attention, ready to receive the communication. And when you've heard that, you can say, just to confirm, so what I'm hearing is whatever's been said. And remember to listen, that you're also listening for the feeling or the emotive words, or where there's pauses in the communication or emphasis on a word. So tone's important. Body language and tone are really important. And then you can confirm, is that what I heard? Or is that what you said? And then you'll either get, well, no, that's not what I heard, or that's not what I said. Okay, so can you explain more? Can you help me understand more of what you've said? So give or acknowledge all that you can of what your partner has asked for. Help them feel as if they've been understood. And it may mean that you need to validate and say, yeah, that was really good, well done. And I've talked about that in one of my earlier podcasts with regards to the 5 love languages, words of affirmation. If our partner's love language is affirming words, they like to be acknowledged and validated, then that's an important part which ties into this. Listen to understand. Remember the speaker's role and the listener's role. They're 2 different parts. Obviously, the speaker has to communicate or transmit their communication, but the listener has to listen. The listener has to listen rather than just hear. Focus on your partner and not on your responses. Get curious, be smart. Give your partner more of what he or she is asking for by asking yourself, what will giving this really cost me? Things that aren't difficult to give, but that mean a lot to your partner, will go a long way to being connected and forming that bond. The last part is meet immaturity with maturity. And that probably goes back to our childhood, being immature. If we didn't get our own way, we'd either sulk or create. And sometimes we were given into. Our parents recognised that, yeah, okay, for a quiet life, I'll give in. And that's a carryover, probably from back then. And we feel that if we try that on our partner, that maybe they will give in to it. So on those occasions when your partner is obviously operating from that immature or childish part, don't buy into that. Stay mature yourself, rise above that. Try 2 or 3 times to help your partner just reseat themselves. And say something like, honey, I'm sorry, I don't really mean to put you down. What I meant was, and then you can explain that. And if after a few efforts, it becomes clear that they're simply just not responding, they've put those walls up and they're not listening, and maybe they come back with something that's disrespectful or hurtful, and they're disengaging, well then take a time out. If disrespectful language is used or demeaning words, a useful phrase at this time may be that I'm not speaking to you disrespectfully. Please don't speak to me that way. You're not criticising them or making a global judgment, you're actually picking up on what's being said. Hopefully, those few ideas there will help you turn things around a little. It's not rocket science, and it's probably nothing that you haven't heard before, but going over these things sometimes just they sort of trigger something, or it may be, I've neglected that. So think about it. If you have any queries or need some clarification on any of those points, please get in touch. Those are covered in my up-and-coming workshop, which will be online. If you visit the website, you'll be able to read up on what that's about. Stronger Marriage Online, it's called. So I hope you enjoyed that. Stay tuned, and if you did enjoy this podcast, sign up for some more, become a subscriber, and the next one should follow within about a week. And next time, I'm hoping to talk a little bit about anxiety in a relationship. Stay tuned.